This is the Power Producers Podcast, where we are refining and redefining the sales game.
Rule number one is you have to believe in yourself. You're the only one who doesn't think you belong in this appointment. The prospect has already validated your existence by scheduling time with you. Get it through your head you belong here, go in there, crush it, and close the deal.
A place where sales professionals can come to learn from other sales professionals and thought leaders that have mastered their craft.
The difference between a good salesperson and a best-in-class salesperson is only 2 minutes. By spending an extra 2 minutes on what you might think is a mundane task in the sales game, you separate yourselves from the pack, you grow your book of business, you close more deals, and you retain your accounts.
As well as their peers who are still striving for perfection to achieve their why.
I have a wife and 4 kids. Failure is not an option.
Real sales professionals, real stories, real results. Are you ready to feel the power?
Hey everybody, welcome to the Power Producers Podcast, where we are refining and redefining the sales game. Today we have Mr. Ryan Keating, a top 5 finalist on the Protege with his coaches Ryan, Hanley, and Ricky Hayter. Hanley's Haters is the team. What's going on, Ryan?
Which one? No. But so everything's going on always. I was going to say we should rename the team to the 3 best friends that anyone could have.
Isn't that from The Hangover?
Yeah.
You could have the Hangover theme song playing anytime you guys are like together, and I should do that, man. I should tell Rocky to edit that into some of the episodes with Alan singing that and you guys just sort of swirling around the screen. That'd be fantastic.
So I am very appreciative of my my 2 good friends here, Mr. Hanley and Hayter, for their help getting
I'll tell
to
you
this
what,
point.
man.
So
You know who I appreciate? I appreciate Scott Howell. You know why? Because for whatever the reason, he sent me a selfie-style video this morning of him recreating the Phil Collins performance from Live Aid in 1985 of Against All Odds. The theme from Against All Odds, Take a Look at Me Now. Yeah, that's beautiful. I don't know if he realizes how much evidence I save up every time he sends me something like that. But
he does. He wants it out there. That's the problem.
So was he hoping you would share that on his behalf?
I don't know. Maybe he was. Who knows?
There's
Listen,
no way
man, I
he
want to
put that much thought into it.
Yeah, well, he nailed it. He had he nailed it. So listen, I'm having everybody on that's in the top 5 for a few reasons. Number one, to sort of showcase you guys so people can get to know more about you, but also just to talk through the experience and kind of how this has helped you and what you caught by surprise with and what was challenging, what you really liked the most about it and all of that. So the first question that I've been asking everybody who comes on is, what was your initial reaction when you saw that we were going to have a reality show for insurance production?
So when you first put out the teaser of to get ready for something big, or that it was actually taking in the video, so I guess probably you went what? You were doing something and then you opened video submissions?
Yeah.
Or you teased it, so I don't know, I thought it was cool. And the opportunity.
I don't know. Another
You sound like you're reading like a hostage video. Are you excited or not?
Is the Taliban in your office, Ryan?
Nah, just a dog.
My coaches treated me really good, and I'm happy to be here.
Well, I didn't know. I mean, so we're going back. You're making me think a little bit. This started in October.
Yeah, I'm just interested in what your initial reaction was. What led you to decide to throw your hat in the ring?
Why not? Because I can. And I knew it was something that I would be able to put a good video to get into on, and then going through this process has kind of been areas that I've been needing to go to. I think you've seen some of the stuff that I've put together of.
Dude, your work product's been fantastic. Like some of the analysis that you've done and the level of detail you went into in your research, like it's almost like you had an intern like Kramer and just paid somebody to go and do all of that for you and come back and you just presented it. I mean, I don't know how you had time to put all that together. I mean, with your social life and hanging out with the dog and everything.
Saturday morning.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I'm being dead serious, obviously, was sarcastic about the other, but, seriously, man, your work product's been impressive from the beginning. And, I have to tell you, out of everybody, not that everybody didn't take this seriously, but you took it to a different level, I would say, just in terms of the depth that you went into. So, I started this thing out with a pretty robust challenge first, with a lot of pieces and parts to it that required a lot of work and effort. That wasn't an accident that I did that. I did it because it's the foundation that has to be built first. But I also wanted the challenges to be requiring less of your time on the challenge and more of your time in execution as you went on. And I also felt like that if I put a difficult challenge out first that required effort, I was going to weed people out that weren't going to be able to put that effort in on a consistent basis going forward. Because truthfully, that's what you have to do to be successful in the middle market, is sustain that. And, I proved myself right. We lost a couple people right out of the box because I think they felt like this is what the first challenge looked like. What the heck's it going to look like 3 weeks from now? When in my mind, I think 3 weeks from then, it got a whole lot easier for everybody. So,
I agree. I mean, I think that first challenge pretty much set up everything else. And then both Ryan and Ricky know I definitely was at a bit of a loss when it came to, I think really like the value proposition side of things was probably my hardest piece to put together.
Why do you think that is?
Because I went to the idea of like the Connecticut risk idea versus really diving down into segments. So I, in my mind, circumvented. I have to start here and then put those pieces in place. Because it kind of switched from the 3 target industries to then in the branding, I don't know, I was going to bring up actually the whole challenge sheet I put together, but it worked well. And then getting COVID obviously wasn't fun in the middle of it. But timing worked out well for that with the holiday break / extension. So I've always thought things worked out.
COVID that you speak of?
Yeah, no kidding.
It's called the Cinco de Mayo coronavirus.
So here's my question. I got a question for the coaches. Why Keating?
So
you guys picked Keating pretty high up.
Because I didn't go
Keating,
first.
No, I know for me, I'm not gonna. So I picked Keating first because in the very beginning, early, and I don't remember what the posts were, but he was posting and he was getting a big following about it. And at the time, because again, this evolved as it went on. And at the time, that following we thought was an asset. And then there was a little bit of shit talk back and forth that I think Gurley was saying like he wanted to take him. So that, at least for me, said, okay, no, Gurley's not going to get him. We're going to take Keating.
Yeah, Keating was high on our draft board, and I think something that stood out for me, and actually, David, you talked about this both on the podcast and in just the Protege forum, is some people, this was such an obvious leverage point in my mind for people, not just in the Protege, but in the broader sense, both in their community, both in the insurance industry. And there were people like Keating who took it and were creating all these posts and sharing any kind of content they got out of it and really turning it into a movement. And what that showed me and Ricky, when we talked about who we were going to draft, was here's someone who's going to be invested, right? Which was really what we were looking for, and was going to see the bigger picture of what the Protege really was. Yes, a great learning opportunity, great networking opportunity, but also an opportunity to expand your brand and grow. And it felt, I think, to both of us right from the beginning that Ryan saw that opportunity and was taking hold of it. So it seemed like a natural choice for us.
And one more thing that I really want to highlight is I was in love. His video, the tryout video,
Yeah.
was my favorite. The creative spin that he put on that of prospecting for dates, I thought was kind of that fun creative spin that you also kind of have to have
Yeah.
for what we're doing here.
Well, here's what I liked about it. I felt like that was more like an authentic somebody who normally wouldn't do something like that, putting themselves in a position to get themselves out there, stretch their comfort zone a little bit. It wasn't like Brady's video. I mean, everybody knows Brady's video because Brady threw the axe against the tree and talked about some things, made some statements. I'm not here to participate. I'm here to dominate. What Brady didn't know when he said that was that production was going to end up coming into play at some point. And so, for me, it wasn't necessarily about who had the prettiest video. It was who had the best thought process. And I agree with you guys wholeheartedly. I mean, that first post that Ryan put up had like 12,000 views on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I'm like, good grief, Keating. Are you like paying people to go and look at this? And it just caught traction. And I mean, I know that Ryan's not somebody that's a stranger to me. I've known Ryan for a couple years now, so I've followed him and I do see the things that he's doing in social. And that really just validated for me what he does. Like, I know for a fact that if I were to go to West Hartford, Connecticut, and just like walk down the street and ask people if they know Ryan Keating, there's a high likelihood that's going to happen because the dude's at a networking event like every day, every night, just constantly getting out there. And that's what I wanted. I wanted that because I wanted to gain exposure to the show, because my whole thing was this. I wanted to create this to help the people who were willing to invest in it. I wanted the people that participated to take something away from the Protege that would impact the rest of their career, period. Whether that be a lesson that they learned or actually building work product that they could use in the real world and subsequently go out and produce accounts that are going to bring revenue in that they may or may not have gone after otherwise. But the other part to me that's critical in all of this is being able to get this in front of other people that can benefit from it. And I honestly believe, based off of how we've structured everything and put this together, that if people watch, which I think they will, we're going to get them hooked. Like, the first 2 episodes are enough to get them hooked. And then once we get into the challenges, if people pay attention to that and they replicate some of what we talk about and the lessons that are taught and everything, there's a lot of producers out there that are going to level up their game real quick.
Yeah.
Well, and even outside of the insurance industry, I know I was telling people at lunch the other day that June 6th or June 1st, it's launching a insurance reality show. One of the guys goes, "How boring is it going to be?" And I'm like, "You have no idea." So I'm excited because that vision you had too, and I'm curious, what made you change from the elimination? Because
So we do have elimination.
or the
up to the-
weekly.
Yeah, we do. We have the elimination weekly up to the top 5.
Okay, so
when
you
the
build that
show,
in.
you've not seen that because obviously the show's not out yet. But we are
And he didn't
eliminating.
get kicked off the island. That's why too.
What's that?
He also didn't get voted off the island.
Right.
so
Yeah.
he had
Yeah.
to
That's the thing.
experience
So
it.
yeah, you're in the top 5, so you wouldn't have known how the rest of that went down. But I mean, it is an elimination, and truthfully, with no disrespect whatsoever to any of the people who were eliminated, it was a relatively easy decision for me. And I can tell you, it was 100. I would tell you that everybody's work product, for the most part, was pretty consistent and good. It was better than average and definitely will play in the real world. But the people who didn't make it into the top 5, the difference was the gap in their social presence, period. And I look at that and how they brand themselves and how they get themselves out there and what they've done to promote their role in the show. Because what I knew all along and what I wanted people to come up with was, hey, at the end of the day, this is going to be a popularity contest at the end. It's going to be who did the audience fall in love with, who was the most active on social, brought the most people in so that they could get the most votes, right? So I only made the decision to get rid of the first half. Now you guys are out producing, and whoever produces over the next couple of months, the top 3 are going to get to the point where they can get to the stage in San Antonio. But when that happens, it's back to being a popularity contest. And if you didn't realize that, and build that brand from the very beginning, you were going to fail miserably.
Well, that's
So that
part
was
of
the biggest thing for me.
that's part of my the rotating facial hair.
There you go.
One of the things that I found most interesting in the difference between the people who were eliminated and those who stuck around, and obviously I haven't spoken too much with people that aren't on our team, but there seemed to be people who understood that you had to solve a problem, and there were people who were trying to answer the question the way David Carothers would answer the question. And the people who I think authentically took the lessons and tried to apply them in a way that worked for them, that solved the problem, are the people that are still in. And the people who just said, well, what does David want? I mean, I would get random, and Ricky, you're probably got these too. I would get these messages where people would just be like, well, what does David want on this one? And I'm like, I'm not David Carothers. Like, I read the same thing that you read. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can help you answer the question in a way that I think works, understanding the process. But I mean, you got to tailor it to you and what makes you tick using the methodology. And I feel like the people who are still here are the ones that picked that up pretty early.
Yeah, that's a good point, man.
On top of that, I also had experience of people just wanting the answers given to them, like, and it was kind of hard and that made my job, I felt, harder, because I was trying to lead people to see that it has to be authentic, but kind of in the format that the Killing commercial does it, but not give you the answer. And so it was really kind of, it was I don't know. I think I also know of the people I know that didn't make it and why, which isn't all of them, but a few, because they just wanted the answers handed over.
Yeah.
Well, let me put it to you this way. If you go in front of a middle market prospect, are you going to pick up the phone before you go in and call that prospect and say, hey, can you tell me exactly how to tailor my proposals for you?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not
No, but I'm
happen.
going to call you and say, hey, Dave, help me out. What gap am I missing here?
Yeah, and you know what? And you know me well enough to know that I typically just ask you enough questions that you end up answering those for yourself based on how I ask you the questions about that. I just got off of a call with Bradley Flowers about an account he's working on right now, and it was the exact same thing. He's like, what do you do here? What do you do here? I'm like, well, what would you do? Tell me why you would do it that way. You know, because I don't think people learn. I mean, obviously people don't learn if you just hand them the answer. But I mean, I really feel like it was an open book test for the most part, you know, in terms of, look, the number one thing anybody should know, you know, let's think about this. What's the definition of protege? You're trying to replicate or be what someone else has become, not necessarily be that person, but achieve the things that they've achieved. And, you know, number one, how active am I on social? Like, that should have been a laydown. Anybody who has, I mean, these people signed up because they reacted to something on social. So the fact that they're not going out and doing those things, I mean, those are the behaviors I was looking for. What the actual work product looked like has to be customized. I don't know what the insurance marketplace in Shelbyville, Illinois looks like. Derek Hayden does. Your product needs to match Shelbyville, not me. Just like with Ryan, it needs to be what's going to play where you're at. And it's funny, man, because, you know, Justin Sloan's got a lot of pressure on him because the very first thing he said was, well, I'm going to go against what David said. And I'm thinking, wow, okay. There's those New England testicles coming out right out of the box.
That's not what it is, but yes.
It's yeah, he stopped by the other day. He's a character. He's a good guy, but he's trying to take me off my game.
I'm sure he was, man. He's probably in there. He's probably in there trying to take you out, get you hammered so you miss your appointment the next morning.
No, exactly. I think he shows up with a duffel bag, toothbrush. I'm like, yeah, you can sleep on the couch now.
Trying to find out how you premium finance those Corvus quotes that he's putting online.
Yeah. I hadn't even actually heard about Corvus till that.
So here's my question. What's the biggest surprise that you experienced as you were going through this?
Honestly, the openness of all of you, the three of you guys, the readily available responses, and the support that you don't get a lot in different situations. And I think with the time, like you said it once, or someone said it, we're all doing our own business and stuff, and it's all the coaches volunteered. And then David, you were saying you put yourself out there, like people can reach out to you, and anytime I did, you responded pretty readily. And same with Ricky and Ryan, and I know Ryan's been going 1,000 miles an hour. And I'm glad we got on video that bourbon drinking late night.
Yeah, most of my willingness to communicate is at 10 p.m. when I'm a few knob creeks deep. I'm very open with how the operation runs at that time.
Hey, we bought some.
I think the thing is, man, for you to say that tells me what I suspected all along, right? Some of the feedback that I got was that coaches weren't accessible, or coaches weren't providing information or helping. And when I listened to you say you didn't have a problem with that, and I listened to the coaches talk about they do hear from people who all they wanted was the answers, well, that basically is what I had surmised on my own. The people that are complaining about not getting enough help from the coaches are because coaches weren't doing their work for them. And I mean, I don't have anybody that does my work for me in the real world. I don't know why that would be expected in something like this. And I mean, I'm not saying this to pump my own self up, but I mean, it's not like I'm not dangling a nice reward for anybody who gets in. I mean, it ain't cheap to get in Killing Commercial. And, I got to be careful who I let in because, for me, it's a balancing act, right? The most important thing to me is protecting that online ecosystem that we've created in Killing Commercial. It's got to be the right person who comes in. And I mean, to that point, it's like I just said, I was talking to Bradley before this. There's a lot of people that I tell no, probably 9 out of 10. And of those 9 that don't get in, a lot of it has to do with geography. But the other ones, I just tell them up front, this isn't going to make sense. I don't think that this is what you're looking for. You need to go talk to so-and-so. They're a better fit for what you're doing because we're not just in here to take a check and train you. We're building an actual community, and we're going to do actual business deals with each other in that community. And I'm not going to do that with people that are just there to serve themselves. It's got to be give and take both. And I mean, one thing that we didn't hit on that I probably should have, if I look back, in hindsight, I probably should have had something around giving back or community involvement in the process. And, I take complete responsibility for missing out on that. But I want to rectify that and address it here in that also has to be a big part of what any of us are doing. And I mean, we're extremely active in the community here. I know that you are, Ryan. I know Justin is. But what about everybody else? Like, what are they doing there too? And I mean, there's only so much you can do and get into a season, but I blew it and missed that one. And so that'll definitely be incorporated in the next iteration of this. But,
season 2, man.
Yeah, season 2. Nick Ayers was at my house this weekend and had dinner. He brought his family over and he asked me what season 2 was going to look like. And he proceeded to give me his opinion of what season 2 needed to look like, and it was interesting to hear.
I would like to say though, the thing with Killing Commercial that I find, I mean, the information is great, and I've used it tailored to the way that I want to run my agency, and it's been tremendous. I mean, it's been gasoline for me that and I've said it many times on my own podcast how important it's been. But what has been such a pleasant surprise about the Killing Commercial community and a lot of the people involved in the Protege has been the lack of, or the absence of selfishness. People I have found, and I don't know the other teams, but I know Ricky and I have spoken many times. I mean, I just think in general, the people who are part of Killing have been tremendous. I mean, anyone that I've needed insight from or had a question or whatever, it really is it's fantastic that people have been as open to sharing, and it really is a different community in that way.
Well, and I don't even know about stopping there. Everybody in there roots for each other, right?
Yeah.
Like think about other groups, insurance groups you're in, and your quote unquote friends. Oh, go get it, bud. Yeah, whatever comments. But in Killing Commercial, there's a lot of people now that I don't really know as well, and if you put something that a win that you're going to go get or an account you're going after, it's like full support. It's a full. It's nothing but positivity. There's no like negative or bringing you down or jabs or that won't work. It's go do it this way. It's awesome. And I haven't
Well,
experienced a group like that ever.
and so I'd say part of the why I wanted to also get involved with this is the younger generation of where insurance is going. It's IAOA is definitely a great place to see the sharing side of things, and also, I mean, I think Ryan, what you were doing back when you were working the Big I and stuff like that, really Elevate was one of the first conferences that exposed me to people being supportive, but I also felt that was very cliquey in ways, that conference. So being able to be a voice for younger agents was one of them. And, Connecticut's small with a lot of insurance agencies. I tell Paradiso all the time, when's he going to BOR his clients to me? Half joking. But
Half.
So half the clients.
Yeah.
He's half joking.
Yeah, you're half joking. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that is the legacy of the next generation of independent insurance agents has been and is firmly established at this point is an openness that did not exist 10 years ago. When I got into this business, my first year was 2006. Yeah, 2006, 2007, into 2007 was my first year. And you did not share what you were doing. If you went to conferences, you kept everything in your billfold. You did not, you were not trying to share. You didn't go see other agents. I mean, I know people are, oh no, it's not like that. That was the general concern. And over the last 10 years, that has changed so much. And I'm, anything that we can do to perpetuate the openness and the camaraderie and the support and the fact that Riggy's on the other side of the country. I mean, it's the left side of the country. Half the time I just act like it doesn't even exist. And I'm a huge supporter of him. So, I think, that just wasn't even a possibility 10 years ago. And it's a great thing. And any community that continues to support that is important to our space.
I look at it like this, man. Anybody who thinks this was a stupid idea or a crazy idea or is not going to follow the show, that's whose business is getting ready to get taken.
I mean, I think crazy idea. It's fair to say it's kind of a crazy idea. And
It's
we're
definitely
all here
a crazy
we're kind
idea.
of crazy for doing this, and it's awesome. And those are the awesome, like the crazy ideas in insurance. I think are the ones that are going to move it forward.
Yeah,
But if you look at it, so here's the deal, man. If you break that down for a second, the idea in and of itself was ballsy to try and pull off. It was crazy and creative to come up with. But at the end of the day, the information that is being taught through the challenges and everything else, quite frankly, is probably at the level of a CIC institute, for crying out loud. When you're teaching people business planning and all of the other things that go in, and you're doing that in a limited format, I mean, you can only get so much into each one of those challenges without it being absolutely ridiculous. But the people who went through and the people who watch, like I said, if they take it seriously, they're going to get a really good education. And all I am is the puppet master. I'm pulling the strings behind the scenes. You guys are the ones that delivered the work product, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say outside of CIC, it was a sales CIC in ways. There's no coverage or product stuff, but it's how do you build opportunities.
You don't really need to understand coverage to sell insurance anyways. I mean, that's a big myth. You just get them to sign on the line, right?
Yeah.
Let the underwriters handle the rest.
Well,
There's a certain amount of truth to that, actually.
What is this
I
coverage
mean,
that you speak
if you look at the caliber of coaches and contestants, just being around and listening to anything with that group of, what is it, 16, 17 people is valuable in itself.
Agreed. And I would say that we have our own vibe inside of the lounge too. I mean, that's become its own little deal. It'll be sad to have that end, truthfully, but we'll figure it out. We may keep the lounge open and then have some flashbacks and bring people in that were characters of the past seasons or whatever every now and again, just to give them a guest appearance. Ryan, what's your biggest takeaway, man? As we get ready to wrap this up, what's been your biggest takeaway from the show?
Well, one thing, when you asked, kind of one of the things that surprised me of the show before, I was thinking, there's been an underwriter that reached out to me and I'm not going to say who or what company, but I'm 99% sure it's through this. And there's another company that we were appointed with that we're not anymore, and their executive territory manager also has reached out, seeing what's been put out, and it's like I'm following along. But like my prospect lists I've been putting together, I've been sharing them with this underwriter, and they've been great to go through. He's kind of been, I'm waiting on the list back right now that I sent him of stuff that he's looked at before. Like that's what would be a hot target for him to basically be like, bring it in, and he'll make it happen. And I would say that is definitely because of this, and that's the guys.
Good luck.
So
Be careful what you wish for.
yeah. But that and then man, I'm just looking forward to now making everything go live. I'm trying to time that with just before the end of the month, before the first episode comes out. So
That's exciting.
Let's go,
man.
Ricky. Biggest takeaway.
Biggest takeaway that I have is
a newfound friendship with the East Coast guy.
yeah, I got a newfound friendship with an East Coast guy. No, the biggest takeaway is really how valuable it is to always remember to say yes to things like this and figure it out as it goes, because I personally am the kind of person that I need to go and study and learn everything before I'm comfortable to do some, and a lot of that is in my head and not necessary. And so I'm thankful to be a part of that, to experience and remind myself that, like you said at the beginning of this show.
Well, the thing is, man, this wasn't the easiest time for you to be involved in this. I mean, you acquired an agency, for crying out loud. I mean, you're juggling like 15 things at the same time. So, I mean, that's the understatement of the year, I would say. Hanley, what you pretty much gave your biggest takeaway, but I mean, is anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I guess my takeaway from this, and to answer this specific question, would be, and I don't know how to frame this properly, but
What would David want to hear?
Hey,
Thank God I've literally never had that thought ever in my life.
I'm
If
ready
anything,
to
I
give you
think
the
what's
answer,
opposite of
Hanley.
what David wants to hear. No, I think we need to find more opportunities as an industry and in this platform or whatever. I mean, just watching Ryan do his thing and the growth, and just, I know some of the stuff that you've had internally in your agency going on, and you're working through different things and your position and how you fit and where you want to go. And I think this forced you to work on some different stuff. And I think you're in a really good place now. And it makes me very happy that you've put this together, and we need to find more opportunities, because it seems like there are people who are so willing to blossom given the right format to do so. So it's been a pleasure, I guess, is probably the best way to put it, to be part of this and see that happen. And I'm very happy for Ryan, because I know, he's got some awesome things coming, and a lot of it was the pressure of the Protege forcing him to do those things. And I think it's awesome. I'm just super pumped.
And also, I put my name on it, so I can't not just let it fail.
Well, I mean, I can tell you this, man. When people ask me about Killing Commercial and ask me what it's like to work with the different agents and all of that, my answer is the same every single time. My job is not to teach people how to sell. My job is not to teach them insurance coverage or whatever else. The number one thing that I do every single day is give people the opportunity to stretch themselves and be uncomfortable, and then back them up to give them the self-belief they need to have to succeed on the street. And so by giving people that opportunity and showing them that, hey, look, you can do this. I believe in you, so you should believe in you. It is huge. It's a huge reward to me. And truthfully, I'm just so appreciative of everybody who was able to come together and give their time to do this, because it also helped me believe in myself too. and the fact that I'm able to make these things happen. Nobody out there is perfect. Obviously, Hanley and I have podcasts and people hear us talk or will speak and they'll hear us talk or whatever else, but it doesn't mean everything's perfect in our kitchen. I just don't talk about the crap that's not right. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. I tell people all the time, you don't ever hear me talk about agency operations on my podcast. There's a reason for that. I don't do it. I hate it. It's not anything that I want anything to do with. And so I just wanted to let you guys know I really, truly appreciate your involvement and your willingness to buy into a crazy idea, run with it, and make it into something really, really special. And I'm excited for you to be able to see what the finished product looks like, because that's the pressure that I have on me. It's not what everybody else thinks. I want to make sure that everybody who participated gets a return on that investment that pays dividends for years to come. And if I can pull that off and then we don't have any viewers at all, I'll be perfectly fine with the fact that the people that participated got better as a result. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap this up. I appreciate you guys coming on. Ryan, you look like you got one more thing you want to throw in.
Well, so I was going to say, so when this gets aired on, what's that, like Hallmark Channel, do we get royalties?
Absolutely.
Sweet.
Hallmark Channel. This needs to be. We need to go Netflix,
Discovery.
So I will tell you. I will
David
tell
Carothers channel will be right next to the National Geographic. It'll be Killing Commercial Channel on Disney Plus.
Well, here's the God's honest truth. As of today, Cinco de Mayo 2021, the Protege is not monetized in any way, shape, or form. It is 100% funded out of my pocket. So, I hope we all get royalties, because that would be great for me. But, I appreciate everybody being on, and it really does mean something to me. And you guys are definitely, I don't allow myself to get close to a lot of people, just because I've been burnt by those closest to me in the past. But it's refreshing to know that I have my own support structure that if I need it now too. So thank you guys for that.
Thank you, man. I'm the same way. This was great, and I can't wait for season 2 to build on now that we know how it feels and what to do.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's Ryan Keating from West Hartford, Connecticut. Follow us on the Killing Commercial Insurance YouTube channel. He's going to need your vote when he makes the top 3, and that is going to be streamed live from Jason Cass's Brain Share in San Antonio, Texas on September 15th.
Oh, wait. So what do you guys have as coaches on the line with the other coaches?
We're the 3 best friends going to be in San Diego, right? Or not San
Antonio.
If you're in San Diego, something didn't work out the way you wanted it to. But Keating can show you a good time in San Diego. I'm living proof of that. I've been loose in the gas lamp district with Keating in San Diego in the past, and I don't know what happened to those few hours of my life.
So to answer that, I guess I'd say a disappointment I have is there hasn't been enough kind of shit talk back and forth among coaches and teams, and I pushed real hard in the beginning for that, and I pushed real hard in the beginning for like a bet among the teams, and neither really came to fruition. So.
I thought it did.
Ricky,
yeah.
Let's just not let the cat completely out of the bag, but I can assure you that smack talk can be handled in the editing process very easily.
You've been listening to the Power Producers Podcast. You can follow Killing Commercial Insurance on Facebook and YouTube. And if you want to take your game to the next level, check out our book, The Extra 2 Minutes, and our website, killingcommercial.com.